Hello everyone, welcome to Sport Champ Live Talk Show. I'm Bhushan Thakur, founder and editor-in-chief of Sport Champ, a sport education magazine, and your host for today's live talk show. We are happy to start an exclusive series on Indian sports legends, where I'll be having the privilege and honor to interact with top sports legends of our country from various sports who have made us all proud in national and international arena. And this exclusive series will definitely guide and inspire many young and upcoming champions from all across India. Today, we have a very special guest with us, a hero and a legend in the field of chess, Vishwanath Anand sir, born on 11 December 1969 and is considered one of the all-time greats in chess. It is his success in the world scene that has made his ancient Indian game a mass sport in India. The critics rate him as one of the biggest natural talents over in the history of chess. His hallmark, lightning speed, and intuitive play came to be recognized when he became the first Indian Grandmaster in 1987. As a five-time world champion, Anand has cemented his place among the greatest champion of all times, becoming one of the rare champions to successfully retain a world championship title three times. Anand is the only person in chess history to have won a world championship title in all formats match, knockout, and tournament. He became world rapid champion in 2017. He was the top board of the gold medal team of the World Chess Olympiad in 2020. Viswanathan Anand has been feted with many international awards. He is the proud recipient of the Chess Oscar given to the best player of the year. He received this award six times: 97, 98, 2003, 2004, 2007, and 2008, thus becoming one of the few non Russian to win the award six times in India. He has received the high civilian award of Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, and Arjuna Award. He is also the first recipient of Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, known as the gentleman champion in the chess world. Anand is a spokesperson for children with cerebral palsy, Vidyasagar. He is fluent in German, Spanish, and French. His travels have taken him close to 50 countries. He is especially fond of nature and wildlife. He enjoys wildlife safaris and following nature programs. He is an ambassador of WWF, a role he is very passionate about. Anand is keen follower of current affairs, world business, and astronomy. He has the unique distinction of having a planet named after him. Welcome to the show, Vishwanath sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Sir, what do you think about this Sport Champ platform and this exclusive series which we have started on Indian sports legends?
It's very nice to be on it. I think it's a different way of engaging with famous sports people, and maybe hopefully it provides some, shall we say, new insight into who they are.
Correct, sir. So I'll ask. We start with our show with a Sport Champ challenge, and I'll ask you three words, and you have to tell me what first thing comes in your mind after listening to these words. And my first word to you is faith,
Okay, God,
sacrifice,
hard work,
and devotion.
doing what you love.
Super. So, tell us about your childhood as you being the youngest among the three children and started learning chess at the age of 6 from your mother. So, how did you develop interest toward chess? And did you try some other sport before taking chess as a career?
Well, when I was young, I used to play lots of different sports. My father worked in the railways, so at the club we had access to tennis, badminton, table tennis. There was a very good swimming pool, so I would do a little bit of all that. But slowly, I found that I wanted to spend more and more time playing chess. I spent more and more time thinking about chess, and that kind of was what grabbed my attention. Um,
Okay.
Pretty soon I joined a chess club, not very far from where we live, and that's how I got into it. I would go there every Monday, every Thursday, and every Sunday to play chess.
Okay. So, your father, late Sri Krishnamurti Vishwanath Anand, a retired general from Southern Railways, and Mother Srimati Shushila, a housewife. So, how did they supported you in the beginning in choosing chess and later sports as a career?
I think in the beginning, the biggest support they gave me was just to let me enjoy playing chess. Even if it came close to examinations and so on, they never um, forced me to choose anything. I mean, they would gently hint that maybe I should finish my exams and then go back. But I recall even playing tournaments during exams in school and so on. And I never had the sense that they were worried that I was spending too much time on it. They wholeheartedly backed me. I think when the moment came to take chess as a career, it happened pretty fast. In 1987, I don't think I was sure yet. But then very quickly, I became a grandmaster, I became world junior champion, and lots of doors opened up. But if you take 2 or 3 years before, my chess was competing quite strongly with my 10th standard and 12th standard exams, these critical moments when you make career decisions.
Correct.
And I don't know what they knew about the chess world and careers there, but they let me find my own way, and I really appreciate that, because lots of people mentioned in those days that, oh, my parents kept telling me to get a sure job, and that's what I ended up doing.
So, in your early career in 1980s, you have earned a name Lightning Kid because of your rapid playing speed as a child. How did you develop that speed?
Um, it's simply how I played. I tended to see a move fast, I would play it fast. On top of that, we had this habit of playing 5-minute games.
Correct.
So each player gets 5 minutes, game is over in 10. And I would, in fact, play in the club. We call this Blitz and or Lightning chess. And that's kind of how the nickname stuck. Um,
Okay.
at that point, I didn't feel a need to stop, though a lot of people counseled me to stop. But my father actually had a very useful insight. He said, if that's the way you play, stick to it. Anything else won't be natural.
Okay. So, who was your mentor or coach, and how did your coach help you to achieve your goals in your career?
My mother played a strong role. I mean, when I was 9, we were in the Philippines for a year. And what would happen was there would be a daily TV program about chess, but it would come between 1 and 2. Maybe
Correct.
because they thought that young kids who are going to school are probably not playing chess. So they scheduled it then. And what my mother would do is she would write down everything they said, and at the end of the show they would have a puzzle. Then after I got back from school and I finished my homework, we would sit and go through the material that they showed, and then we would solve this puzzle together and mail the answer to this TV show. So she was very involved. She traveled with me till I was at least 16, and after that occasionally, but for the big events. But till I was 16, my mother was traveling with me everywhere, and when she couldn't, then my father would travel with me. And I never had a formal coach till I was already playing the candidates, so that happened much later.
Okay. So, you got married to Aruna ma'am in 1996. So, what role she had played in your career in life and in life?
Um, I think she adapted very well to the chess world. She was not someone familiar with the chess world before we got married, but she was very supportive, helping me. And then eventually we settled on this role where she would deal with everything not concerning the game, and I would just be able to concentrate on playing chess. And this arrangement worked very well because she's able to deal with a lot of issues around the event, and I just focus on that, and that's a big help for me. And she, I would say by now, because we traveled so much together, that she was able to counsel me. She was able to uh, give me feedback from other people, things like that. And so clearly, it's almost like a joint career move. Both of us, we achieved many things together.
I managed to get a small thought of her for you. If you allow me, I can play that video for you.
Sure.
I just want to say, as being Anand's wife, I've had the privilege of traveling with him to many chess tournaments and all his world championship matches. I think what I admire most about Anand is his 100% dedication to the sport, an ambition to succeed, not because it's a burning desire to be number one or to be world champion, but this passion or this need to keep learning from the game on a constant basis. I think he still sees himself as a 6-year-old boy who's very curious about chess, the way he approaches the game, and the ability he's had throughout his career to be flexible in changing with the times and keeping up with the times. But I think above all, I think one quality that stands out is the person he is rather than the champion he is that he has excellent human qualities that make him a very good role model, make him a very good father, and make him a very good husband. I think more than anything, my son, I would want him to step into his father's shoes for the person he is. Whether he'll be the champion his father is, that is a journey my son has to choose for himself. But I would be happy that he would try to understand and appreciate and assimilate the values that Anand stands for. Thank you.
So this was I was able to get that from your wife.
Mhm.
So, sir, what used to be your training schedule during your training days, and also what used to be you used to do for mental toughness, and how important is mental training in sports?
Okay. I had a training schedule which basically consisted of reviewing all the recent games, finding out what are new developments, what are the new ideas in chess, making sure that you understand them and that you check them yourself. By check, I mean that spend enough time so it feels familiar and natural to you. Then continue to double check that whatever preparation you have made for specific opponents remains up to date. And this kind of, I would say, almost housekeeping work. You have the work done, but you constantly have to refine and upgrade it. Then, whenever I would have a longer break, I would do something more fundamental, which is to develop things that take a long time to develop. But I mean, you have time. You can attempt to add some new skills, work on areas, more fundamental work. And of course, for when I played World Championship matches, then we would do 6 days of 7 or 8 hours a day. And then the seventh day, we would take rest and work on that kind of schedule, a team of 4 or 5 people, because the workload then grows a lot. I follow something like the first routine. Obviously, the kind of work you do for the World Championship, you cannot do all the time. That kind of energy level and commitment is very hard to think. But I try to keep up to date as much as possible. Mental toughness is clearly, look, it is the only thing that makes any difference in a sport. If I'm much stronger than my opponent, if the gap between us is huge, then mental toughness doesn't come into it. The difference in skill takes over. But as the two players approach similarity in strength, then what makes the difference? It's that little bit of flexibility, adaptability, being able to react better at the board. It's being able to play well and calculate well under pressure. But mostly it's not to collapse. At a certain moment, despite the game going in unexpected and even directions you don't want to be going down, you keep some level of control where you're still able to think and plan in a normal way instead of, how shall I describe it? Sometimes you experience this feeling of collapse when you're no longer able to deal with what's happening at the board, and then the level of your decisions comes down a lot. That's how most games are decided. When we make a blunder, that's what happens. So working backwards from that, I would say mental toughness is the only thing that makes any difference at the highest level.
So, what will you suggest for young players from all sport for brain mapping, which will help them to plan, monitor, and evaluate their training programs, which will eventually help them to go closer to their goals? How important is this brain mapping during the training program also?
I believe that you should have a sort of awareness of what you're doing. When you're working, at the same time, you should think, when I started this work, what did I hope to achieve? And is it going in the right direction? Am I seeing a lot of stuff, but it doesn't make sense to me? When I'm sitting at the board, am I able to apply this? And you need to be aware. I don't know if I'd call it brain mapping or something, but you need to be aware when I'm sitting at the board, what is my state of mind when I make decisions? To a large extent, you will need to write this down when it's fresh in your head. And then you think, which are the decisions that are not optimal? What was my state of mind? How do I work on it? How do I improve on it? The simplest way is if you work on areas that you're bad in, you'll get confidence, and the next time you'll deal with it better. That's at a basic level. But at a higher level, you may have psychological issues playing certain opponents, playing certain situations, when the stakes are high, when there are no stakes. Each of these circumstances you have to try to, and in the end it's self-taught. You can learn how other people did things, but in the end you're the only one who can solve it for yourself.
Correct. Sir, what was your initial struggles in your journey of becoming a champion, and what was one special thing in you which always keeps you ahead?
um, I think the most important quality that I have is that I'm still excited about learning, because chess is changing very fast. And if you're not willing to keep changing
Correct.
your assumptions about the game, and this is quite fundamental because it means not what you know and you're completely sure of, but how you react when you think you understand a position, but you're not sure. Then you'll go with your instinct. And you need to keep on working to be with the times. So I would say a flexibility to learn, and maybe a certain humility about what I know on the chessboard.
Correct. Sir, how you used to plan your goals in chess career, and what secret thoughts you would like to share with upcoming champs of India? Planning and goals for goals.
In fact, my dream was always to become a world champion. But one of the things I learned is that you can only strengthen yourself, and then you can only increase the chances that when the opportunity finally comes, that you are ready, or that you are better prepared than you would have been if you didn't take these steps. So there's always a certain amount of unpredictability. By this I mean that even the most deserving people, sometimes you need the right break. You need things to work out for you. You need a little bit of, shall we call it, luck. But you cannot just sit waiting for it. You have to keep on training and working and improving. So improvement, self-improvement is what you must do, but it cannot be goal-oriented. What happens then is suddenly the opportunity to play will appear, and then you're ready. In my case, the first time I became world champion in the year 2000, it had come after 3 failed attempts. Then the second time I became world champion was 2000. And in fact, after 3 years of no world championship title, because there was a lot of politics in the world of chess, it's a long story, we had stopped thinking about it. But I nonetheless kept working on my chess. And then in 2007, when I got a chance, I was able to do well, but only because I had been working for 3-4 years continuously. So you have to work hard and be patient.
Precisely. Sir, what suggestion you would like to give to sports person in choosing or planning career in sports, and more importantly balancing between sports and studies? This is the biggest problem which current kids are facing, balancing between sports and studies, planning a career in sports, whether to get into sports or not. So what will be your suggestion, and how to plan the same?
It's a very tough question, because at what age do you know that you want to play sports for a living? And at that age, are you ready to make that decision? My own journey, I knew that I should not take that decision before I finished school. In fact, between school and my BCom degree, I did not stop studying. I continued at university. But by the time I finished my BCom, I was already in the top 10 in the world. And then I can easily make a living from chess, so there is no risk involved.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a little bit of following your heart. If you really want to do sports, but you're only going into, or you're thinking of another career because you're uncertain, I think that's a very tough call, and you'll have to follow your heart to a little bit. You can also keep a flexibility. You can say, well, I'm going to keep a backup option and I will try to um, play for 2 or 3 years. And you must have the self discipline at the end of 3 years to say, this is not working out. I'm now going to stop. I will continue to play the sport for fun and for joy, but not for a living. Or it may work out for you and you go ahead. Um, I think the only thing to avoid is to feel that you're trapped in the wrong decision.
Correct.
And you have to think about this and make that decision. It's a tough call.
Correct. Sir, what guidance you would like to give to players and parents who are currently striving hard to achieve their goals in all sports from your side?
I think for the player, just to do what they love, try to get better, and just enjoy the sport. At some level, enjoyment is what it's all about.
Correct.
And for the parents, I would say, and in a way, it's personal because I will experience this soon with my son as well. When he has to make choices and so on, is I think to be helpful with advice, and maybe as a parent yourself to try to put yourself in their shoes and imagine what are the choices and the motivations, but I think to accept the decision that they really want to make. That's the best thing you can do for them.
Correct. So my last question to you is, what is one biggest learning you had in the journey of sports, which you would like to share with all of us?
I think what I learned from sport is it's a job like any other. You need the same level of commitment. There are lots of years of hardship, and even the freedom we have. The fact that you don't have work for someone and you can make a lot of decisions means that you have to become your own boss. You have to
Correct.
set guidelines. You have to follow certain discipline and so on. But then the reward is there. Um, for me, sport is a little bit about passion. There are other jobs you can do with let's say a lower level of passion, but you cannot be in sports only for the money or only for the fame. You have to enjoy what you do, otherwise you will not last.
Correct. Sir, here we start our rapid fire round. If you're ready, I'll start.
Sure.
Sir, a moment which you cherish in your life. It's you can answer in one word or one sentence.
My world rapid title in 2017.
A moment which you cherish in your chess career.
Oh, sorry. Then I should actually switch my thing. I would say the birth of my son, Akil.
If you had your human body but head of an animal, then which animal would you pick and why?
Okay, let's go with an elephant.
Okay. What was the worst thing you ever did as a kid and got away with it?
Uh, I got away with. My parents didn't punish me, but once when I was very young, I went into the storeroom and I was playing with something, and then the whole box fell on top of my head. But I was sneezing a lot, so I wouldn't say I got away with it.
One thing world does not know about you.
I have no idea what they don't know about me.
Okay. Best advice you have ever received.
Both my father and another dear friend, Maurice, kept telling me just be yourself and do your best. I think that's still very good advice.
One food you love the most.
Rasam, South Indian food. So,
One thing you would like to change about yourself.
I think there are lots of things I would do earlier or later, but I'm not sure that I really want to change anything.
Okay. What do you miss the most?
Certain experiences, when they're over, you miss them for a while. I miss people that I don't see anymore. And now, in my 50s, you start to experience a bit of nostalgia.
One person you admire the most.
I really liked Michael Tal, the chess world champion, and it's probably quite meaningful that I actually played in a chess club named after him.
Wow. What is the best phrase or quote you believe the most?
Um, don't worry, be happy.
So, and my last one is describe yourself in 3 words if you can.
Content, easygoing, and grateful.
Super. So, before we log off, what you would like to address to all sports person and sports enthusiasts of India?
I wish them lots of enjoyment in the sport of their choosing, and that's in the end, that's the only thing that matters.
Super, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time and agree to share your life journey, which will definitely inspire and motivate many. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Dear viewers, I hope you must have enjoyed the show and learned a lot from this episode, as I am. We will keep on bringing such inspiring episodes which will guide many sports person in their journey of sports.